Hey, are you an instinctive shooter? Well, I've got a question for you. Is instinctive archery really just gap shooting? Let's talk about it. Hey, Joe McLean here from CatholicHack.com, where I live my life for God and I'm passionate about traditional archery. Hey, thanks for watching this video, by the way. This topic today is a question that I have thought about and pondered for months, and I've really been curious. And I'll tell you why specifically I've been thinking about this in just a minute. But you know, as traditional archers, even as compound shooters, as archers, we are simply managing the arc of the arrow through its flight. Now, the faster the arrow goes, the more shallow the arc is, but either way, there is an arc. Well, depending on your setup, depending on your distance to target, really determines the inclination of the arrow when it's knocked, right? The way in which we get our arrow to hit that intended impact point can vary greatly. Some of us use sights on our bows, some of us put hash marks on the riser, some of us shoot string walking, others shoot the gap method, there's face walking, I like to shoot split vision, and still, yet there is that elusive instinctive shooting. Now there's some incredible instinctive archers out there. I have named several of those on this channel in the past. Jim Grizzly Kent, Woofy, the Gray Archer, Jeff Kavanaugh, just to name a handful of really incredible instinctive shooters. Now these guys are dedicated to instinctive shooting. It's not like they do a lot of experimentation as far as I know. They are 24/7 instinctive shooters. I am not. I am shooting instinctive right now. I have shot instinctive in the past, but I think I prefer the split vision technique. I have a video on that. I'll link to it below. Check it out if you'd like. But right now I am shooting instinctive, and here is why I have been thinking about this more and more. Whenever I find myself shooting instinctive, I notice a phenomenon. Let's say, for instance, I'm shooting for that center black dot on my bag. But I notice myself grouping arrows to the right of that black dot. So what do? My group is about maybe say 3 inches to the right of my intended impact point. So what do? I simply find a spot, a dot, a tiniest little dot I can, 3 inches or so to the left of my intended impact point, and I let arrows fly. And wouldn't you know it, they go into where I hoped they would go to begin with. That sounds a lot like gap shooting if you ask me. Yes, I didn't use the tip of my arrow to judge gaps. My brain did all the work. So that makes me think, I wonder if instinctive shooting is really just gap shooting in the end. It sort of demystifies it for me. And this is why I want you instinctive shooters, especially those shooters who are committed to instinctive shooting full time. I really want to hear from you and your thoughts and opinions of this. But I think there are two factors at play here. Factor number one, experience. You know, when it comes to instinctive shooting, if you want your brain to do all the calculating, you have to give it as much data as possible in order for it to do that. So you got to shoot, and you got to shoot a lot, and you got to shoot from various distances, right? That gives your brain the data it needs in order to calculate those gaps for you and put the arrow where you hope it to go, where you're looking, right, with your eyeball. So that's factor number one. factor number 2, and this is really where I would love to get some feedback from instinctive shooters. Let's say, for instance, you are 100% committed to shooting instinctive, right? But let's say that you shoot from, say, 15 yards almost regularly, because that's what you have available to you to shoot at that distance. So when you shoot, you typically shoot from, say, 15 yards. But then you get an opportunity to go out to, say, 25 yards or 30 yards or even further, and you start flinging arrows down range. I wonder if you're hitting your impact point, or do you do what I do, and that you find yourself having to compensate by looking above your intended impact point, some measure of inches, in order to get your arrow right where you hoped it would go to begin with. In other words, are you gapping only using your mind instead of, say, the tip of the arrow, pins, hash marks, positions on the string or in your face or whatever? I'm very curious. I really think these two factors are at play, and ultimately I would argue that instinctive shooters really are gap shooting, and they probably gap more often than we non-instinctive shooters realize. But what do I know? I am not a purely instinctive shooter. Maybe you are. I would love to hear from you about what you think about this topic. Are you an instinctive shooter? Do me a favor, comment below with your feedback and your experience on this topic, because I think it's a fascinating thing. Because my hypothesis is all archery is simply just managing gaps. Thus, we are all simply gap shooters. We just choose different ways by which we are going to manage those gaps. But again, what do you think? Comment below with your opinion and your contribution to this conversation. I'm very grateful. Next week, I think I'm going to be putting out my Super Bowl version of Will It Stop a Broadhead? So look for that. If you haven't done so already, I'd be very grateful if you would subscribe to the channel, give this video a thumbs up, and share this with your friends. I am grateful that you are part of this traditional archery community. I'm praying for you that you shoot straight, and I hope you pray for me that I shoot straight. And until the next video, may God richly bless you. Really?